Man United 2, Chelsea 1, man. Dear Chelsea fans, I just want to say, I told you to hang on. I knew it was going to be a long season, man. You know, whenever Chelsea achieves something big, the league, Champions League, the next season's always rough. Do you remember when we won the Champions League in 2012? And then in 2013, we went out in the group stage. We lost to teams like Shakhtar Donetsk. Do you remember? Juventus bopped us. Do you remember? Do you remember when we won the league? In 2015. Then the next season we came 10th and Mourinho got sacked. Do you remember when we won the league in 2017? Then in 2018, the whole team capitulated. And like 6 months later, Diego Costa got sold back to Atletico Madrid. Oh my gosh, it's just a Chelsea story, bro. And it's jarring, bro. It's jarring. But let's talk about the game. Sanchez. If I was Saeed, I would say, meet me in the car park, bro. Get out of my club. Sanchez, man, why? Why, Sanchez? Why? Why did you do that? Why? You didn't have to do that, Sanchez. You didn't have to do it. Take it easy, man. Calma. Tranquilo. I say every week, tranquilo, my friend. Why? You didn't have to do it. Reece James, best player on the pitch, probably. Tosin, wow. I want to call him Tosin. I don't even know what to call him, blood. Just moving shaky, blood. Chalobah, phenomenal today. Again, scored a goal. And it was retribution. Because I know people would have tried to say he had a bad game. He didn't, bro. He didn't. He's certified. And if it was him and Levi Cole at the back today, we probably would have won this game. Cucurella, brother, I can't lie. They stuck it on him. But he did all he could. He's not Superman. Palmer came off injured. Santos came on. Finally. Enzo Fernandez. Listen, this is why I said, yeah. I love Enzo Fernandez, yeah. But there's just something about him that don't sit right with me. And if I'm completely being honest with you, yeah, I'll be so real. I'll tell you the absolute truth when it started for me. When I heard the first story that he departed from his longtime partner or wife, whatever it is, to live separately, I was like, that's off to me. And it made me think, look, stability is so important in your life. Yeah, that's why you see Pep encourage all of his players to find people, settle down, get married. That's why Arteta does it now. Find people, settle down, get married. That's why you see a certain sense of settling or settled nature in your Caicedos. Yeah? In your Cucurellas. Yeah? Pedro Neto with his long-term girlfriend. That's why you see, I think personally, yeah, even Cole Palmer with his long-term girlfriend. That's why I think you find a sense of consistent performance when you see human beings that are settled. They perform consistently. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. There's something to it. Because Enzo doesn't make sense how his performances fluctuate so massively week to week. 1 week he's our best player. The next week, what's he doing? And we're all screaming at the telly thinking, what's he doing? Esteval didn't even get a look in. Praise God, I wouldn't even want him to come out a scapegoat in this game. But what? He was ready today. Pedro Neto coming off. Boy. I'm not going to lie. That's when I thought, yeah, Maresca's lost it. He's lost the plot. He's lost the plot. This game has rattled him and he's fuming and he can't even think right now, but he's just got to make a decision. So he's just made a decision. And it's too late to correct the decision. And I sort of understood it. Like, if you're going to play a 5-4-1, right? Or you're going to play if you're going to play a 5-4-1, you lose a player and you remove a winger, right? You can't play a 5-4-1 anymore. So you go to a 5-3-1. But I think what he's thinking is you go to a 5-2-2, right? And you play João Pedro down the middle with Cole Palmer. Or maybe he's thinking you go to a 5-3-1 and you keep João Pedro at top, but you go Palmer as an attacking mid, Enzo and Caicedo as the two holding central midfielders, right? Palmer in the 10, João Pedro is the 9, and then you have your two wingers. Theoretically, it should still work. It should still work having Tosin as the central ball player midfielder, going out to Chalobah and Fofana being your ball carriers, and then your high fullbacks with Palmer still there, and it should still work. It should still work. But it didn't work. It just didn't work. It just didn't work, man. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. And then by the time the second goal goes in, Palmer has to go off as well. It's just, oh my gosh. And Santos finally, and Santos was phenomenal. But Santos should be playing in a double pivot with Caicedo. I'm going to say it now, and I know it's crazy to say, but I think Enzo Fernandez has got to go. I think he's got to go. But we're going to have to find someone in his place that is phenomenal, because I don't see how this continues. This was a tough one to take. Because you just felt like, listen, if it's 11 men, we could get a good result here. 11 men. Even with 10 men, we could have come out with a draw. But it's like we're getting to the end of the game. And there was one chance even where João Pedro's running through the centre and Enzo Fernandez tried to give it like 5 seconds too early. And of course, no Jamie Gittins. I told you about Gittins. I told you he's not ready. I told you if he was ready and Maresca trusted him, he would have played. I don't know why Joshua Chempong wasn't there, because Joshua Chempong probably should have been there. And the even crazier one for me is then you bring on Tyreek George, and I get it because he can play up top, so you can drop João Pedro into the 10 and do what I was already saying, right? But then no Mark Gue. To me, it would have made more sense to play Mark Gue. You have a man who can just play up top and just crash their defenders and run after the ball and chase them and keep them pressed high. It would have made more sense to have Mark Gue. Would have made more sense to have Mark Gue. Would have made more sense to have Mark Gue. And then no Garnacho. And I thought for sure Garnacho was coming on for at least 10 minutes. But he didn't. That was a tough one. Listen, let me give a quick player ratings. Sanchez, 1 out of 10. Rash decision, poor decision, wrong decision. 1 out of 10. Reece James. Let me go with my gut. 8.5 out of 10. Tosin. 5 out of 10. Chalobah. 7.5 out of 10. With the goal, I'll give him an 8.5 out of 10. Solid. 8.5 8.5 out of 10. Solid performance. Cucurella, 7.5 out of 10. Did everything he could. Enzo Fernandez, 3 out of 10. Caicedo, 8 out of 10. Was everywhere. Enzo, poor again today. Palmer came off. Esteval came off. Pedro Neto came off. So I cannot rate any single one of them. But in their place, Santos, 8 out of 10. Fofana, if I missed him already, Fofana, 6 out of 10. 6.5, 7 out of 10. And João Pedro, 8 out of 10. Couldn't have done any more. That's my player ratings. That's my match reaction. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. This was a frustrating one. And I could talk about Maresca, but I don't really want to because I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, being that this is your second year of management and you should be afforded some cataclysmic errors. In your first season at a top flight club, you got Champions League football and you won the team 2 trophies. You have grace. I'm giving you a bly. This season is your 6th place season. If you finish any higher than that, you've done well. I don't want to see that. I don't think we should see that. But if you do that, fair enough. This is your 2nd season. I will give you grace. But I do want to see some of these stubborn mistakes ironed out, Maresca. Please. Today, I will say, Maresca, you got it wrong. But it's okay because I have grace for you. And that's all I have to say for today. Let me know your comments down in the comments section below, my people. I read every single one of them and reply to every single one of them. And until next time, take care. Don't stress and stay blessed. Peace.